So moving back over to the freecad, we've now got our pencil pot all cut out and everything, but like I say, let's switch to the front. We'll switch it to the front, zoom it to fit, so we're now on the front, and we might want to make this a nice personalized pot, so we can add a cylinder, and then if we think, we'll put an eye, nose, big mouth straight through. So as you can see on the cylinder, when you add, 0 point is in the center of the cylinder. So a cylinder, and it's got a 2mm radius. Now radius is from the center to the outer perimeter. Diameter is all the way across. So if you want a hole or a cylinder that's 4mm wide, you set the radius as 2mm. The height is obviously top to bottom, and then you can adjust the angle. So if you put 90, I just move this out just so it's visible. Minus, so you see, put 90, goes into 90, 10, 100, 180, 270, and 360. 360 is generally what most people want, but say 180, but you want it upside down, you then can go onto this angle in the placement, 180, and switch it around. So don't confuse the two. 180 angled in the cylinder settings is how much of a cylinder you want, and then the angle in the placement setting is which way around you want that. Which way around do you want that cylinder shape that you've actually said you want. So 270, but it doesn't have to be a fixed setting. You can actually adjust it all the way through till 360, 36 degrees, 3 degrees, 0 degrees. We've then got the axis that you want to change it on. So if I want to change it onto the y-axis, I can do that. Or if I want to change it onto the x-axis, I can do that as well. So it's at 90 degrees. Now I've put it so it's on the x-axis. But if I want it 90 degrees on the y-axis, I can do that as well. And let's just make it a full cylinder. So we want it at 360 degrees. But then if I want it on the z-axis, change the z to 1, that to 0, and again it's back on the z-axis. So whichever one you want it, if you want it lined up with the front like this, put it on the 1 on the z x-axis, 0 on y and z, and as you can see now I need to move the cylinder back into the position, so move back to 0, and as you can see that 0 on the position refers to the center point. So if we want to put that right back smack bang in the middle of our pot, it's, as we look on the little icon down the bottom right here, we'll just zoom that to fit. We got the z-axis, so on the z-axis, which we know is 10 centimeters, we can put a formula 100 millimeters and divide that by 2, and then once we click out of the box it'll place it right in the middle, and then again on the x-axis this time, which is 50 millimeters divided by 2, and click at the box and it's smack bang in the middle. But then on, as you can see, that's protruding out, and we know our wall from the previous video is 2 millimeters thick, so we'll send that back in by 2 millimeters. And if we look inside the pot, we can now see the circle outline of the cylinder. And then we want to make it, at the minute that's 4 millimeters wide, that hole. We can make it a centimeter wide, so 5 millimeters. Remember, radius is half of the center point to the, is half the diameter, and that is the center point to the circumference, the outer edge of the circle. So we got the cylinder cut. It's going to be, and we don't even need to, we can adjust it because it's going to be a cut, but it's 2 millimeters tall with a radius of 5 millimeters. And then let's just rename that to nose, make a quick smiley face. And we'll view it on the front again, and we'll just copy that, simple copy, Control C, Control V, and then placement of F2, LI, FI, F2, RI, and then as you can see the X position, we want to change that formula, and let's add 2 centimeters. We added 2 centimeters, 2 millimeters, not 2 centimeters. We'll clear the formula. If I can view it from the front. +50 + 15, 65 even. Left eye, clear the formula. 15, 50 minus, that's 35 even. And 70, let's clear the formula again. 75. And here we've messed something up. Right eye, center point is 25 + 15, 35. Left eye, 65. And 25 minus 10, 15. And then we'll create another sphere. Once again, as before, we're going to put it on the making sure we select the one we just added. So as we see, it's on the x-axis, 0 on the z-axis, 90 degrees, and then we're having a half circle, so 180, and then position it in the middle, so 25 millimeters, 35 on the y, 2 millimeters on the y even, 35 on the z, and we need to rotate it and just see how we go along. Trying to think, make it 50, no, 50 is the entire width, so Okay. And just drop it down a bit so it's not touching the nose. So 30. And the height is just 2. So it's not protruding out. Just for simply looking. Now we've got the cylinder in place. All of them. We can then use the cut Boolean. So we've already cut the shell out. So we'll select the cut for the shell. And then we'll cut out the nose first. So once again go to cut. Then we get a new cut one. Select the eye, cut. Cut 2, select the right eye, cut. Cut 3, select the mouth, cut. And then as you can see, I forgot to rename that. I can still go back in and name it the mouth. And not only that, even once it's cut, you can see through. If I think that's a bit too small, I can decide actually 1 centimetre doesn't quite cut it. I want it 1.5 centimetres, so 15 millimeters. Let's increase the radius. And we can adjust that. So we've got our little face starting to look a little bit creepy. But then let's add a cube. And as you can see, this mouth 15 centimeters. I don't like the fact that it's touching the nose. So let's go to the placement, position, and we can drop it down by another 5 millimeters. So 25. We got to the cube. Now I want to stick it out a bit. So for this cube, as you can see, it starts on this corner for the placement. So I want to bring it out through the x-axis and the y-axis. I want to bring it out by about 3 millimeters and bring it up just above his head. Or maybe even on his nose, on his mouth as a tongue. So we'll bring it over so it's 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters wide. Sorry, 10 millimeters wide, 3 millimeters long from the tip. So on the width, 3 add 2 is 5. Then we drag it down. As you can see, it's no overhanging side, but we got the 3 millimeters there. So 10 millimeters wide, 50 millimeters. So 25 minus half of that is 20. And then on the Z, I forget what we set the center point to. 25. We have the tongue sticking out there, but I don't actually like the fact that it's sticking out so much, so let's see if it bobbing out. So make it 15, so it's just there, but we do need a bit of an overhang, so make it 30, 17, so you get the tongue coming out and then down. But then we need that little line in the middle of his tongue. So first of all, we need to join the tongue there to the cut, and then we use this little fourth piece here to join it into one item. So we fuse the two items together. Then create another cube. We're making it 24. Make sure I've selected the right one. $17, 2 millimeters, 1 millimeter, and then the Y position is -3, was it? Um, 25 -2 width. I'm going to take the fusion and that, and then once again cut. But I don't like the fact that the line cuts all the way down to the bottom. So let's create a bit of a sphere. We can merge that into it, but to be honest, we might be going a bit too far now. Let's delete that. Another cylinder. We'll add 2 eyes. 90 on the x-axis, was it? Yes. 2 millimeters height there. Just go through to the right. I just check where our position is at 35 millimeter, 65 tall on the Z. So we can have the eye coming in, 2, and then just have it pop up, or we can adjust it a bit more. on the position 62, and just play with this a bit more, just so as we can see that we got a nice joint. And a little bit of overhang. I'm just scrolling the middle mouse key in here just to adjust it. So we're at 35 on the X, 62. We're going to create a copy of that, Control C, Control V. And then we're going to bring this over to the left eye, which is at 15. And as you can see, it's not dead center, but I quite want it looking down to one side. And then if I want it to be even more, we can make that a nice big hole through that one as well, and add another cylinder through for a hole cut. But let's just join these two together, another fusion. So we'll go to cut 5, Alt Control, hit the cylinder which is for the right eye, and then fuse them together. Click the fusion, cylinder, fuse them together. And to be honest, when you got stuff like that, you can select all three and fuse it all together in the one go, and you can see the cut and everything all together. So we have a couple of eyes popping out, a nose, and this is quite a unique design unless someone else has made it. I'm just coming off this with off the back of my mind. Now, what else could I do to this? I could add some air stripes on the top. So add some simple cubes. So we want it length. We say 2 millimeters wide. It's only 3 millimeters, so you just want a little millimeter sticking out. And then we need to adjust the Y position to -1 to bring it forward to the 0 point, and then the Z position is 90, so it's right at the top. And break it in. Then we'll do a simple copy of that. Simple copy of that. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, and we'll just move 3, 4, add a bit of a gap, 6, 7. I said yes, 2 did I? Yes. Okay. 10. Then we can select the compare, say Control-V, 10, 13, 16, 19, 22, 22, 25, 26, 28, 31, 34, 7, 40, 43, 45, 46, not 45, maybe just one more, 46, 49, there you go, nice little hairdo, zoom to fit. But then we have all these that we're going to want to join into the piece. And create another fusion. And there we have something nice and unique. So again, we can save this. We can go to export and select the fusion. So we'll go to File and export it as an STL. We open Process Slicer. Just remove the last one and add in the new fusion. Looks okay. Let's slice it and see how long it's likely to take. And with all this extra stuff on here, we're looking at quite a lot of infill, but I don't want to print off all that infill, so we'll go back to the settings, go to the print settings. For some reason I'm not in expert. Support material, turn that off, save that, better, slice it again, and it'll show you what it's likely to look like and how it's going to fill it all in. So go around perimeters, and it's taken just under 5 hours to print this now, but it's looking like a nicer, more unique. Now we can go to File, into the print settings, and on the infill we're having 15%. Support material speed, multi extruders, we ain't got any of that in mine. I want to go to layers. I only need 2 perimeters on the circles, and I think I can do with maybe 2 layers on the bottom. I'll leave 3 layers on the top so it's nice and steady. We'll reslice it, see how long it'll take now. We just knocked a few minutes off, not a lot. But you get a gist of how it's going to look. So we can export the G code using the button, it'll pop up your save G code file dialog. And in 4 hours 40 minutes we can have this sitting on the pencil on the print deck, but I'm not going to print it just yet.